Tamgeji tapkalenzina mangwengwe ulole mitego ibaibai agigeregete shet neba Kass TV itagatseng logega bemet kigurena Jacqueline Arusein kata geng betu tap rani tuyet neba gandoik neba international and local economic policy leadership and stakeholders eng takchine tap kecheng ortinwek chemuch keboishe kenganap tabandap tai neba tau uchumi neba Africa iwarataga indo jibagengeit neba African Economic Research Consortium kobeltinge gomang ortinwek chemuch koboishe kenganap tau uchumi Mashinani chuba Africa. Iwarata kwendoje Principal Secretary and State Department neba Economic Plannings Boniface Barasa Mukoha ak African Economic Research Consortium Executive Director Professor Victor Murinde oleko mogole mitemaget neba gaya chigilishet ne yamat eng chengeta walutet kotinga walutik chiki borjanjin ematunwek chemite eng Africa.
We are strongly committed to working with the National Treasury and Economic Planning, to work with the government of Kenya, to address issues that could enhance strategic development of Kenya by researching, generating data, strategic data, so that policies and strategies are designed on the basis of hard evidence and ability to strategize, see the pitfalls, and also maximize the benefits in terms of the planning where we should go. We believe that co-creation with the policymakers and private sector, with us as researchers, is the main way to go going forward. We use a pre-mortem approach whereby we stand at 2035 and then look backwards to 2025 where we are, and now see how we are going to move from where we are now, 2025, to reach that target of 2035 with improved economic prosperity, with benefits shared by all, with jobs and skills creation, with expanded trade into the African area, and also being able to expand aspirations. And in that way, we are able also to see what could be the impediments, the obstacles that may happen between 2025 and 2035 that might derail our ambitions to achieve those targets. And then we mitigate those difficulties, we address them, so we can be able to reach 2035 with great economic prosperity and fulfilling the priorities for the African continent. This partnership we very much appreciate, and we shall do our best as the ERC to work with the National Treasury and Economic Planning to achieve those objectives. Thank you very much. Pan-African, so we will be working in partnership, strategic partnerships, which means co-producing knowledge that is demand-driven and meets local conditions. So if you are looking at, for example, how communities in Kenya, or communities in Burkina Faso, or communities in Ghana may be able to expand a production of agriculture for domestic consumption, but also for being able to feed into the Pan-African market, and also produce value chains. Okay, so you're producing the crop, you are processing it, you are producing manufactured products, and then you are sharing in the markets. That's a kind of value chain. So the product may start from Kenya, but end up being processed and distributed to, say, another country like Ghana, and so it becomes a Pan-African entity. But the first important thing, strategic partnerships, to work with the local communities. And this, in that context, for example, we are partnering with the government of Kenya.
I just want to reiterate that it is extremely important that as a government, whatever we do, the initiatives should be evidence-based, and policies that we are formulating and implementing should be guided by research. And that is why we are here. We are very keen working together with the African Economic Research Consortium. So thank you. I want to just take this opportunity to probably bring to our knowledge that, number one, before I answer that, Africa needs to generate its own resources. And this we have partnered with African Union to develop a resource mobilization for Africa. And if you bring it back home, why we are saying this is very possible from the government perspective, two initiatives that we have implemented through our own generated resources include, number one, the affordable housing. Number two, the universal health coverage, the SHA. So this is a demonstration that as a people, if we look inward, we are able to generate our own resources. One of the approach here is tax that we have. If you listen to the speech of the CS, you're saying we broaden the tax base, ensure we have resources, but we have also gone ahead to bring on board private players, because we realize that, was it 2023 when we had the Pact of the Future? The declaration was, and all the leaders, global leaders said, governments cannot do it alone. We need all other sectors. So we want to bring in private sectors so we are able to work together to generate the required resources to develop our own continent and country.
Ketesetai kokaindochi President William Ruto eng betutab rani kamang'unetab chiefs ak sub-chiefs chekotesetai ak training eng komasta nebo Embakasi ole kamwa President kole boiboichin kakwoutienoto kiib konyor icheket kanetisiet yamwaat kole bendi kokimiti eng ole oret neikoitoi boisionikwak eng biikab emet.
To strengthen service delivery, public order, and public security. I commend the team at Interior, led by the Minister, for steering the Jukwaa la Usalama consultations across the 47 counties, and for ensuring that the voice of the citizens remains firmly at the heart of policy formulation. Kenya's security has remained largely stable due to the dedication of the National Government Administration officers, security agencies, and the resilience of our communities. Yet, as we all appreciate, the threat environment is changing. We are confronted with community-level conflicts requiring swift intervention, sporadic criminal activities driven by socioeconomic pressures, emerging threats shaped by technology and evolving criminal tactics, localized tensions over resources, boundaries, and competition, and humanitarian challenges such as drought, displacement, and natural hazards that strain communities. These realities demand proactive leadership, accurate intelligence, coordinated action, and a professional administration that works hand in hand with citizens as partners. The Jukwaa la Usalama forums were genuine public engagements, and their recommendations must and will be translated into concrete action. The stability of our country, the success of our economic transformation, is directly tied to the work you do every single day. Your service enables farmers to produce and transport goods safely, traders to conduct business free from extortion and disruption, youth to pursue opportunities peacefully, infrastructure projects to proceed without interference, and communities to maintain confidence in public institutions. I must single out chiefs and their assistants for supporting the Ministry of Agriculture. When I came into office, we had only 300,000 registered farmers. But in a record 3 weeks, chiefs and assistants across Kenya raised that number to above 5 million. And they did it free of charge. I want to say congratulations to the chiefs. Now the Ministry of Agriculture has documented farmers, whether they are coffee, tea, wheat, maize, sugarcane, and all other farmers. They are now in the process of documenting all our livestock farmers to make sure that agriculture is driven on the basis of data that is accurate and that we can design public policy and carry out public support to all sectors on the basis of accurate information. A secure and orderly environment is the first foundation for investment, growth, and shared prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, our bottom-up economic transformation agenda rests on the understanding that economic progress is impossible without security, stability, and accountable leadership. I say this knowing very clearly that when I entrusted the responsibility of managing the interior docket to CS Murkomen, and he asked me what were my expectations of this sector, I asked him to go and listen to the people at the grassroots, to go and engage chiefs, their assistants, the Nyumba Kumi people, and citizens. I am very happy of the outcome of that engagement because it truly reflects a bottom-up approach to security, and it gives us the needed information that will guide our formulation of the undertaking of security operations, governance interventions, and policy coordination in government. I must commend chiefs and their assistants and the Nyumba Kumi people below you for supporting the registration of SHA, making sure that every citizen is registered. The work you are doing records every day 30,000 Kenyans register on SHA. Today we have 27.8 million people registered. Most of that effort has been undertaken by leaders at the grassroots, community health promoters, chiefs, their assistants, and people at that level. I must also commend you for what you are doing on matters education. We have agreed that no child, irrespective of the family they come from, should be left behind in matters education. It is the responsibility of every chief and assistant to make sure that no child in your locality is left behind or remains without going to school. I am very happy with the reports that I am getting on what chiefs and their assistants are doing and what the whole national government administration officers are doing. The achievements we are recording in agriculture, MSMEs, digital transformation, housing, health, and education depend fundamentally on your work at the grassroots. Allow me to highlight key progress and the programs you are mandated to support and safeguard. Agriculture remains the anchor of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda and the foundation of our economic renewal. Key achievements and ongoing initiatives include the registration of over 7.1 million farmers now for the fertilizer subsidy program and other policy interventions required by government. Expansion of farmer support initiatives to increase productivity and to reduce the cost of production. Strengthening value chains to create jobs and broaden market access. Major investments in irrigation and water harvesting to mitigate climate shocks and enhance access to inputs, training, and market linkages. I urge you to promote these programs, ensure that farmers receive the services they are entitled to, resolve resource-based disputes promptly, and guarantee equitable access to inputs and opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, micro, small, and medium enterprises remain the engine of our local economies. Ongoing efforts include the expansion of access to finance platforms such as Hustler Fund, the National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement (NYOTA), and the National Government Affirmative Action Funds, strengthening cooperatives and community enterprises, and advancing county-level industrialization through county aggregation and industrial parks. The minister just recorded that chiefs and assistants and all members of the National Government Administration officers are multi-purpose officers. Your support is for all sectors of government, from health to education to security to all the other sectors that require government support. And I have instructed that any government policy that has been passed by national government or county government, it is our responsibility, it is your responsibility to support all development, whether they are being undertaken by national government or county government, so long as it is for the benefit of the people of Kenya. You owe such policy interventions support. Since the NYOTA program was launched, which is now going on around Kenya, our target is to reach 110,000 young entrepreneurs nationally. The program also includes on-the-job experience for 90,000 young people and recognition of prior learning for 20,000, alongside savings and capacity building initiatives to help young people trade with government. And when I say young people, I mean both men and women, and I did specifically single out single mothers to participate in this exercise. Your role is to mobilize beneficiaries, support fair trading environments, eliminate disruptions, promote good governance in cooperatives and SACCOs, and facilitate access to information on government policies and opportunities. At the same time, the government continues to expand digital public services to enhance efficiency and transparency. Over 27,000 services have already been onboarded onto the digital platforms, with further expansion underway, including universal connectivity and the rollout of Jitume labs in all wards. You are expected to adopt digital systems fully, ensure accurate reporting, and support citizens in accessing digital services. Our housing agenda seeks to stimulate employment and provide dignified living conditions. Ongoing programs include affordable housing projects in urban and peri-urban areas, upgrading of roads, electricity connectivity, water provision, modern markets, public facilities linked to housing projects, and job creation opportunities for young people. When we say, for example, for all public infrastructure constructions, it is your responsibility to ensure that young people from that particular locality become beneficiaries. They become part of the development of whatever infrastructure that is going on in whatever locality. We are rolling out a big market infrastructure program around Kenya. It is also your responsibility to work with the county governments to make sure that accurate identification of beneficiaries is undertaken, because these are public resources that have been used.
Maje Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi ke kanapta bororiet neba pariet neba girindaita amendap HIV and AIDS asima testa koleta gengi moni kongona lengor tane baga bwateta betut nebo girindaita amendap ukimwi negibwate ngony gomugul eng tarik agenge neba raetap tamanaga eng ngenyita getul koko yai labatet neba kabwata noto kole kama Mudavadi kole tesetai koegu kaimutyet neo miondab ukimwi netesetai koname biik chechang ole nyalu kekanapta boriet nekitokchini mionotok.
Excellency, in the year 2024, this country recorded 19,000 991 new HIV infections. Out of those, about 15,400 were adult 15 plus. Among those which were 15 plus, 41% occurred among adolescents and young children aged between 15 and 24 years. 41%, almost half. Bearing in mind that the Kenyan population is 59% below 24 years. If you expand that bracket, 75% of the adult new infections that occurred in 2024 were among adolescents and young people aged between 15 and 34 years, 75%. And this is the population that is supposed to grow up economically active, they're supposed to be educated to take over the leadership and development of this country.
You know, in Africa, and Kenya being in Africa, sex is not discussed openly because there are issues that culture holds back when it comes to sex education. Maybe a time has come for the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health, NSDCC, Parliament, legislature, all actors, executive, to come together with the parents and the teachers, to discuss what should we have as sex education, so that if we have to eliminate this threat by 2030, we must do things in a way that we have not done them before.
But we need to remember two things. Despite all the progress we have had, we are also facing challenges. 1.3 million people acquired HIV last year and 9 million still lack treatment. There are signs of hope though, and I think Kenya is showing them with the resilience and partnership that it inspired us. You are leading the journey to HIV integration and sustainability with communities stepping up. Youth-led initiatives are empowering young women to protect themselves and their futures, and people living with HIV, leading, innovating, and refusing to be left behind.
In recent times, there has been a decrease in donor funding in supporting the fight against HIV due to the constantly changing global economic landscape. In this regard, I would like to urge all stakeholders to come together and help us achieve this goal in reducing the number of infections of HIV virus and more so teenage pregnancies. In order to achieve these targets, there is need for strategic investments that involve all stakeholders, both from the national and the grassroots levels. If we don't let people see some of these things, just the way we saw the video in Busia, then they may not believe you. They may think it's a joke. So it is real. We need to talk to our young people. We need to be courageous, the way you said. If we don't inculcate it now, integrate it in our educational processes, we are only living in denial. This is a big challenge. We cannot afford to let it go because the resurgence is worrying, the resurgence is aggressive, and the resurgence needs to be checked before it finishes our young generation.
Tindai kanet President William Ruto kole tesetai komie boisionik chebo bandab tai kosubkei ak uchumi nebo emet netesetai kokimitu ole kong'ololi eng AIC Milimani komwa Ruto kole kokomuch serikali kolumda boisionik cheechen cheu kabaraetab oret nebo Rironi Naivasha Nakuru Mau Summit.
I want to encourage all of us to see the future of our country. I have great confidence in the future of Kenya. I have seen what God can do. 3 years ago, we were struggling with the economy, we were struggling with education. Our health system was not quite together. Our economy was not doing very well. But God has healed our economy. He has changed things for us. When day before yesterday, when I was launching the biggest road stretch of 175 kilometers that's going to unlock the potential of half of our country. I was very proud that finally God is opening spaces for Kenya. We will be doing another 4 or 5 or 6 of those major infrastructure in the coming year, and many of the other things that we have laid out to do. I am asking you as members of my local church and as Christians to pray for the plans we have for Kenya so that God can make the difference in Kenya. I am very confident. I have no doubt in my mind that it is possible to move Kenya from a third world country to a first world country before I die. It's possible. In the next, by the time I get to 90, Kenya should be a first world country. Yes. And that is just about 30 years from now. It's possible. Others have done it. I am very confident we will do it. I want to thank God that this week we had elections of leaders in different categories. We want to thank God that that exercise is concluded. We have additional leaders who are coming to join us, those of us who are privileged to be in leadership. Please pray for those who have been elected. Pray for those of us who are serving so that we can discover the will of God for our nation and the purposes of God for our leadership, and so that together with those who are being elected, we can forge ahead and do the will of God for our nation. Continue to pray, and I want to congratulate all of them from all the political parties and all the political formations. There is no leader who is elected by default or by chance. It is God who determines leadership. Therefore, and to welcome them into leadership so that we can take our country to the next level.
Chitap kalenjin gagi tukchota game tablo ga chak chiba emet gagi mutke bunwange test studio ne ba Kass TV ki gure na Jacqueline Rusey agomagun gita ga tuguleme.